Hello, kababayan, and hello, YouTubers. So, today I'm going to be talking about what kind of cell phone service you need when you go to the Philippines. So, let me talk about my background. Back in 2016, when the first time I went to the Philippines, my dad passed away. So, in 2016, I had to go to the Philippines. I used to have Sprint cell phone service. Um, when I went to the Philippines, it wasn't working at all. I didn't have any service, but it's okay because at that time I didn't know anything about the Philippines. The I told them my concern about the cell phone service, so the locals helped me get a local cell phone with the SIM card and also the Wi-Fi box. It looks like something like this, something square like that, and you pay for the data plan so you can get your data. The problem I was having back then was it would overheat. This pocket Wi-Fi, if you put it in your pocket, it would just overheat, and the Wi-Fi wasn't that good, the data or in the speed. But I don't really know anything about the Philippines, so I just accepted whatever they gave me. And then when I came back to the US, T-Mobile was up and coming, and I got an offer of a better phone, better phone plan. So I switched over to T-Mobile. Then I went to the Philippines, and T-Mobile works. I think I did back in 2017. So I was surprised my phone was actually working, my T-Mobile phone. So that's how I got into the T-Mobile. So now, every time I travel to the Philippines, I have no issues with my cell phone. I have signal. I mean, it's not perfect, but I have signal. If you have Verizon, that can work too, but you have to pay $50 for an activation fee or something like that for it to work. But T-Mobile, you don't have to pay extra. Once you land in the Philippines, you turn on your phone, it works. So let me give you guys the details of the T-Mobile service that you get from America, and then when you go to the Philippines, let me tell you what happens when you get to the Philippines. So when you land in the Philippines, you naturally just turn on your cell phone, and you will get your signal. You don't have to do anything special. You just turn it on. The speed you'll get is 2G. That's fast enough to do some minor texting, video, chat, and stuff like that. All right, so the speed will be 2G, and you'll have unlimited data and texting. So you can text anywhere in the world or to anybody in the world. You could text in the Philippines, text people in the Philippines, text people in America or wherever, and it's free. And the data is unlimited, but it's only 2G fast, right? So you have a 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. So now you can see where the 2G is, where it ranks. So when you are in the Philippines with T-Mobile, if you call somebody in the Philippines, it'll cost you 20 cents a minute. If you call somebody in the US, it's 20 cents a minute. If somebody from the US calls you, it's 20 cents a minute. If somebody from the Philippines called you while you're still in the Philippines, it's 20 cents a minute. Voicemail, same thing. If someone calls you, left a voicemail, you want to hear it, it's 20 cents a minute. Okay, right now it's June 15th. So the pricing may increase down the line. So keep that in mind. I have an S10 phone and an S9 phone. So an S10 is newer than the S9. What I noticed is the S10 get better signal than the S9. So if you are planning to go to the Philippines and using T-Mobile service, I think if you have a newer phone, S10 or newer, I think you'll be okay. So you will get signal. Um, where do they get the signal? The T-Mobile. Well, the T-Mobile connects to Smart or Globe. So on one occasion, your phone will be connected to Smart. On some other occasion, your phone will be connected to Globe. The speed is primarily the negative part of the service because it's not as fast as the US, right? So US you get 4G or 5 LTE or 5G. I mean, so it's good enough for the Philippines. And what I do is I have two phones. I use one phone using the T-Mobile service. One phone I'll be using it for navigation using Google Maps. The other phone I use the navigation Waze apps, WAZE apps. So with those two phone on and they're both unlimited data plan, and that helps me when I'm driving around the Philippines. So I have two different information now, telling me how to get to a place, and I'll decide for myself which one I should follow. You could use the Viber with the data plan. You can text, and sometimes you could do video. Messenger, you can use Messenger texting as well, and you can do a video chat with Messenger. A little bit better than Viber, but then again, it's not as fast. So sometimes your face or their face will freeze up. So sometimes you won't have as good as a good experience with a video chat on Viber or Messenger. I believe Messenger performs a little bit better, but it's not as good as if you were in the US. But if you want to chat for like a few seconds, like to find out where that person is at or where to meet, it's good enough. And sometimes a part of Cavite, I was getting a strong signal and I was able to do video chat. But you'll end up in places where the signal is not that strong. Now, if you are in a place like me, for example, I have a house in the Philippines. I have a internet over there. So I have a Wi-Fi. When my phone connects, now this is just recently, this is 2022 information. When my phone connects to the Wi-Fi, I could do Wi-Fi calling. Where back then, 2021 and earlier, I couldn't do Wi-Fi calling. So recently, T-Mobile somehow fixed that bug, and my phone was working with the Wi-Fi calling in the Philippines, as long as I have a good Wi-Fi connection or internet that's fast enough. So the Wi-Fi calling, the advantage of that is I can call US for free, and I could call people in the Philippines for free. They don't charge me. But if you're in the Philippines, you're on your Wi-Fi calling, and then you call the bank. Because I know you can, if you have a property in the Philippines, or you do have transactions, or you have a bank account there, more than likely you will be calling the bank. And if you do call the bank, the Wi-Fi calling will not be free. I was charged like $3 to $4 a minute, and I was shocked. I complained to the customer service, and the lady there was able to explain to me that the Wi-Fi calling doesn't get any discount if I call a bank in the Philippines. So another thing is what happened to me when I was in America or US. I called so I want the Wi-Fi calling, and then I called the Philippines bank, and I was expecting to be charged only 20 cents a minute or 35 cents a minute. In fact, I was being charged $3 to $4 a minute. So something with the bank, if you're calling the bank, there is no discount. If you're in the Philippines, you're calling the bank in the Philippines, no discount. If you're in the US, you're calling the bank in the Philippines, no discount. So be careful with that. But other than that, I'll stick with T-Mobile because I travel back and forth to the Philippines. I travel 4 to 5 times, even sometimes 6 times a year. And T-Mobile is actually my go-to cell phone service. I want to be in. I want to have Verizon, but there's no service in the Philippines unless I pay the $50, and I am too cheap to pay for the $50. So there you go. I'm not endorsing T-Mobile. I'm just sharing my experience since I travel back and forth from US to Philippines. T-Mobile is my go-to cell phone service, and it works. And I know somebody out there will say that there is no signal. Well, that's true. There's some parts there is no signal. If my T-Mobile doesn't get any signal, more than likely the people with the Smart or Globe, the local cell phone, they may not have signal neither. So that's it, guys. So if you guys have any comments, questions, leave a message or leave a comment below. All right, have a good day, kababayan. Increase the peace.